Raise your hand if you've ever experienced it. If we were at university, I would expect nearly everyone to have their hands in the air now. Loneliness among young adults is one of the highest in comparison to other age groups. In a short survey that I conducted with 48 participants, I found out that nearly 94% of the participating students have felt lonely at some point of their university experience. More than half of the students have experienced loneliness as a regular issue. But what exactly is loneliness? And what makes it different from just being alone? I asked 4 fellow students to define loneliness, and this is what they said.
You felt like you didn't have any friends, or you didn't have any people who like you, I guess.
Loneliness can happen also in the crowd. So if you are surrounded by people, you can still feel lonely.
Being lonely, you just get that sense of there's nobody else around, or you just feel set apart from them.
Sometimes you can sort of choose to be alone, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but being lonely is sort of more of a negative state of mind because you feel like there is no one really you can turn to.
I think it's a sense that you're not fully understood.
The Oxford Dictionary defines loneliness as a feeling of being unhappy because you have no friends or people to talk to. But why are so many students lonely? I want to explore some factors that are specific to student life. Ronnie, a second-year student, talked to me about the impact of moving away from home and being scared of making new friends.
Being at university, being away from home, away from the people that I was sort of really familiar with and really comfortable with, and especially with new friendships, it can be quite difficult to find a balance, knowing that there are people who would most likely really happily hang out with you, but you're still sort of not wanting to impose yourself.
Another factor that seems to play a big role are living arrangements. Wes is currently living in a flat with his friends. Nevertheless, he feels lonely at times.
There's been a few weekends where I've just been home alone, and that can hit me sometimes. And I'd go pretty much most of a day without actually seeing another person in real life, which just knowing that there's no one else by you and you're not going to see someone for quite a number of hours can take its toll mentally.
Grete, an EU student from Estonia, lived in halls, sharing a flat with 10 people in her first year. This was the first time that she ever experienced loneliness.
I lived last year in the student accommodation, and although you kind of live within the setting where there are many other people around you all the time, I think many people felt lonely there, and including me. And I talked to some of the people in the corridor at some point, and they felt exactly the same thing. Like the first time I felt lonely. I didn't even know to go to other people because it seemed like it's not normal thing to feel. But then like later when I talked with one of my friends, he described exactly the same thing as I was feeling. Like, okay, it must be more common than just me.
It seems like no matter your living arrangements, everyone can experience loneliness, whether you live in a flat with 10 other students or with your friends. Therefore, many students join societies in order to connect with people who have shared interests. Nick has joined 3 different societies in his first year and found it quite challenging to fit in.
In my first year, I lived at home, so I wasn't surrounding myself with people my age, and that was quite lonely, because the only time I ever interacted with people would have been at university and at the societies that I went to, I guess. I joined 3 societies: the Radio Society, the Climbing Society, and the Badminton Society. All societies would start from a group of friends, and so the way they expand on that is just more people come, and then you have this feeling of kind of being an outsider to a family that already exists. It's difficult to kind of work your way into it. I felt that at all 3 societies, to be completely honest.
Wes had more positive experiences with societies, but he also points out how some activities might exclude individuals.
They obviously are a chance to meet new people in the society, sort of like-minded individuals. But it depends on the activity, I suppose. Like if we're doing something like bowling, then yeah, I'd happily go along to that. But if it's something like going to a pub or a club, that's not my thing. So I'm a member of the cricket team, and pretty much all their socials are drinking-based, pubs, clubs, that sort of thing. And whilst it would be great to meet new people that I'm going to be essentially playing with through the summer, it's stuff that I know that I won't enjoy doing. So I feel like I'm missing out there.
Addressing the drinking culture at university, I think Wes makes an important point. It seems that there is a certain peer pressure around drinking and going out. Ronnie, Greta and Nick share with me their views on peer pressure and drinking.
I feel like I don't particularly experience that kind of peer pressure, but that's just because I'm kind of comfortable in myself and knowing sort of that I don't have to do certain things in order to have fun. So I don't feel like peer pressure sort of affects me in any way in that kind of sense.
I was afraid that I will miss something if I don't. Like if I don't go out every now and then, that I will kind of be left out.
I hadn't really felt it, to be honest, until literally the other day when I went to a Halloween party. I felt some pressure to dress up. I don't like dressing up. And I felt some sort of pressure to drink. There was a moment where I was almost forced to drink vodka.
University seems to be a really daunting place to make friends. I myself experienced loneliness in my first year at university. Healthy and deep social connections are incredibly important to the mental well-being of every student. Being a young adult can be a bit scary. Moving away from home into a new environment and figuring out what you want to do with your life can all get a bit much. Therefore, it is crucial that we have people we can talk to who understand us and who we feel comfortable with, who support us and who make us feel valued as human beings. Looking back, I wish that there had been someone who had taught me what to do to ease my loneliness. Therefore, I asked my friends to give some tips that have helped them in the past.
How to ease loneliness? That's a hard one. Because loneliness, I think, can only be eased through the deep friendships. I think if you don't have the deep friendships already, then just try to build long and lasting friendships now, since the loneliness won't get easier as you grow older or as you move on.
I think one of the main things for me, even before I came to uni, there were group chats around on Facebook. You could already get to know people from your halls, your course, before like a month in advance. You're new to uni, do look out for those sort of groups.
I feel like going to the same society, being a part of the same society, sort of bonded us together.
I remember from the beginning of this year, I was working at the uni, and then a guy came up to me and my friend, and he just started talking and started asking questions, and he was so friendly. And I was thinking to myself, why didn't I do this in the first year? Why didn't I have this courage to go up to people and just start talking?
Finally, I think what really helped me was putting myself out there and keeping myself busy. Helping other students with their projects for university, or finding a job or volunteering, even if it's just a few hours a week, is a great way to get to know new people. And even if you don't become friends, a nice conversation can turn a bad day into a good day. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope it helped you and you could get something out of it. Have a great day and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you experience loneliness, speak to a friend or family member and tell them how you feel. Also, you can go to the mental health team at your university where you can schedule a one-to-one session. Or visit websites like minds.co.uk or join self-help groups. Don't be afraid to ask for help.